Hey guys, Bushcraft 412 here. I want to talk about the UN Small Arms Treaty. I never did a video on this subject because I always thought, there's a little too much conspiracy theory in this treaty for me to deal with, and there was a lot of people, just kind of reaching a little further than what they should be, trying to say this treaty is about, circumventing the Second Amendment and all that, and it's really not the case. If you actually read the treaty, it's really more about importing and exporting of firearms between countries than anything else. And the new, most updated version specifically says that it is not to be used as a domestic gun policy. But however, after reading this and reading more and more about it, I'm actually becoming more and more concerned with it. And not because of it being used to as a form of domestic gun control, but as a form of essentially limiting the weapons that Americans can get. And I see a lot of abuse that can happen here, and that, if the UN were to say that, say for example, like Russia is selling arms to Syria, and they decide for whatever reason that Syria shouldn't be getting arms, and yada yada yada, that could potentially create a situation where Americans cannot import anything from Russia. And that means no more SKSs, no more AK-47s, no more Wolf ammo, and I could potentially see, and let's face it, a lot of our ammo is made in foreign countries. We do have all that Russian ammo, we have the Fiocchi ammo, it's made in Italy, and a lot of our ammo, especially the military surplus stuff, is imported. And I find it rather concerning in that this treaty may be used as a way to stop those imports into America, and that is where I think the real concern with this treaty is. I'm sorry guys, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. I don't see conspiracies and everything that pops up in the news, and I'm sorry if you clearly do a little research and read. This is not some end run on the Second Amendment. In fact, it says that it can't. If you do even more research, you'll realize that the Supreme Court has already decided several times that international treaties cannot circumvent the Constitution. I forgot I should have had them ready for you guys. I'm sorry, but if you're really interested, send me a message and I'll get you the information. But there's been numerous Supreme Court cases over the years, and an international treaty cannot take precedent over the Constitution. So even if it wants to, the Supreme Court would never allow the UN to do something with the Second Amendment. But it doesn't mean there are not evil intentions here, guys. Do not get me wrong. I think there are definitely evil intentions here, and that, like as I mentioned, number one, it puts a lot of power into the hands of who can import and export, and I think that can really be taken advantage of to hurt us, and that they could really cut us off from good military surplus ammunition and those Russian products we love. The SKSs, the Saigas, AK-47s and all that. So that has me a little bit worried. But then number two, I also see this as a way for the UN to control what countries have the ability to arm themselves. As we all know, the UN has never won a war. They've never solved a problem. They are effectively batting zero. In fact, any country the UN has ever been in, they left it a bigger mess when they left than when they started. Somalia, Serbia, all those countries, we have just done nothing but, the UN has done nothing but just wreck countries. So my other fear, of course, is that we will use this law to control which countries are armed, which rebel groups are armed, who can import where and what. And it takes away, I think, freedom of the people. Let's face it, even though there may be religious groups that we don't particularly care for, I believe they still have a right to open protest and to rebel, just like us Americans. It's in our Constitution. We have a right to stand up to our government and protest and rebel. And other countries, even though they don't, should have that right as well. And I really feel like this treaty affects that. I really feel like it's going to affect those civil wars and the capabilities for people around the world to try and gain their freedom. And that I find is the most scary thing of all is I really see this being used by the UN as a way to keep the power elite in place and not let it be disturbed. I think with everything going on with the Arab Spring, the recent riots in Turkey, I think, the world is going to come out. This is going to be another summer where we're going to see new revolutions, we're going to see new conflicts and civil wars, because the world's kind of waking up and people are realizing, hey, we can stand up against our governments and win. And I think we're going to see more of that. And I think this is a really strong push by the UN to control who's armed and who's not armed in these countries. So in the end, guys, I think although this is not the doomsday end of the Second Amendment that some conspiracy theorists make it out to be, there is a lot of good reason to be concerned about this treaty. And, it's in all likelihood it's going to be defeated in the Senate. They need a 2/3 majority, and they do not have it, from what I understand. So I don't anticipate it passing, but I do think, and I hope that you guys, after listening to this, will keep an eye on this, because it's going to pop up every so often, every couple of years. Every time there's a shooting, this is going to pop up, and people are going to try and push this through more and more and more. So it's something to keep an eye on, because they do rewrite it. There's a lot of amendments to it, and it's been changed a lot. And the next version may not be as nice as this version, so I think it's something we need to watch and be proactive about contacting your elected officials and making sure that they understand our concerns with this law. So hope you guys enjoyed. And once again, guys, before you get on there and rant and rave about the conspiracy theories, do a little research on these things. They're always not as they're made out to be. And but even in that case, guys, there are always ways where people will make loopholes, and I think this is really a scary way for the power elite to try and maintain their status quo.